Welcome to Business Spotlight on Money Radio WPSE. Business Spotlight is heard weekly at this time on 1450 AM and 107.1 FM. Today's guests are Scott Frederick, Jim Berlin, and Gretchen Blough of Logistics Plus. Guys, thanks so much for joining us. Scott, let's start with you. What is National Logistics Day and how did that come about?
Logistics Plus has partnered with the registrar at National Day Calendar, which is basically a holiday registration service, and they give authenticity to new holidays for everything from National Donut Day to Driver Appreciation Day, those kind of things. So we've partnered with them to proudly proclaim June 28th as National Logistics Day. This is going to be a new day, annual day to recognize and appreciate the importance of the logistics industry in both our national and global economies. So to celebrate National Logistics Day on Friday, June 28th at 12:30 p.m., Logistics Plus will be hosting a special event and we will be sharing some special announcements here at our global headquarters at Union Station in Erie. Local and national customers, partners, politicians, and media are all invited to attend. In fact, Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf has already pledged his unwavering support for National Logistics Day, and Pennsylvania Representative Robert Mirsky will actually introduce a resolution to the PA House of Representatives on June 19th to officially honor National Logistics Day. And we have similar support for National Logistics Day at the city, county, and actually the national level as well. So this is a pretty cool national day that will now be celebrated annually on June 28th to recognize the contribution that the logistics industry makes to our economies. We also have some cool stuff online if you want to visit nationallogisticsday.com. You can learn a little bit of history of logistics, get some interesting facts and figures. There's a video there. And we are also doing a photo contest if anybody wants to participate in that as well.
So this day is going to be National Logistics Day moving forward, right, from here on out?
Yeah, every June 28th from this day forward will be recognized as National Logistics Day.
Scott, you really spearheaded this and picked up the phone and really got this ball rolling, right?
Yeah, we did a little. It started off small because we were looking for sort of a platform to kind of announce some of the things that we'd be doing in the community, like the Varsity Cup and the Tall Ship sponsorship that we have coming up in August, and looked and just out of curiosity to see if there was a National Logistics Day, and there isn't. And to my knowledge, there's not really any holiday that focuses on the logistics and supply chain side of the industry. And as you know, there's a holiday for everything these days, so we took it upon ourselves to proclaim June 28th as National Logistics Day and use that as a platform not only to talk about some of the things that we're doing in the logistics industry, but just recognize the logistics industry in general as well.
So I hear there might be a logistics book coming out or is already out, right, Scott?
So Logistics Plus has partnered with John Wiley & Sons, which is the publisher of the For Dummies book series, and also with author Daniel Stanton, who's known within our industry as Mr. Supply Chain, to present a new Logistics Careers Plus More for Dummies book. There's actually more than 50 million people employed worldwide in the logistics sector. And so this Logistics Careers Plus More for Dummies book is meant to explain why pursuing a career in logistics is an exciting and rewarding professional opportunity. The book starts by explaining what a supply chain is and then shows how to plan and manage a career as a successful logistics professional. So whether you're out of high school pursuing a college degree, the logistics industry is always looking for professional interns, drivers, planners, specialists, programmers, managers, and frankly, even good leaders for the industry. So we think this book is a nice resource for those people that are interested in pursuing a career. If anybody's listening and they want to download the ebook version of this of our dummies book, they can go to logisticsplus.net/dummies and they can download it for free. To get a hard copy version of the book, simply just go to our website and to the Contact Us section and send us a note. We'd be happy to send it.
Are there any new points of recognition for Logistics Plus that you want to discuss?
So we have a couple of new points of recognition. We are proud to report that on June 25th, the editors of Supply and Demand Chain Executive magazine have recognized Logistics Plus with one of their 2019 SDCE 100 Top Supply Chain Project Awards. And so this is the third year out of the past 4 that Logistics Plus has received one of these honors. The supply chain project that we submitted for this contest this year that earned us the recognition involved a successful implementation of a new supply chain process for a Fortune 100 aerospace manufacturer. And that new process basically increased supply chain visibility, improved their routing reliability, and also increased the network velocity within their network by 5 days. So it really was meant to give them greater visibility and speed within their supply chain. And we demonstrated that through this contest submission. And as a result, we've been named again as one of the top 100 supply chain project companies. We've also been recognized as a finalist for the 2019 Heavy Lift Awards in the Project Logistics Provider of the Year category. This contest is managed by the Heavy Lift and Project Forwarding International magazine. It's a global magazine, and the global awards contest in which the best project cargo logistics companies compete. So we're one of only 4 companies that have been named as a finalist in the prestigious Project Logistics Provider of the Year category. And this award is actually based on 5 criteria. It's based on unique techniques, planning procedures, safety and environmental considerations, use of new technology and IT systems, and a solid recruitment and training program. So as one of the finalists in this category, we'll be competing with 3 other global companies that manage project cargo. And the ultimate winner will be decided in mid-October at the awards banquet in Antwerp, Belgium.
Scott, I hear that LP is getting involved with the Varsity Cup again this year.
Logistics Plus is proud to announce that for the 3rd consecutive year, we are a marquee sponsor for the Best of Varsity Cup presented by Erie Times News and GoErie.com. Varsity Cup is an annual event to celebrate and honor the accomplishments of the 2018 and 19 all-area high school student athletes and top performers from 45 high schools across 8 counties in 24 sports. As the primary sponsor, we are also proud to welcome Pro Football Hall of Fame legend and former Buffalo Bills quarterback Jim Kelly as the guest speaker for this year's awards dinner. In addition to Varsity Cup, Logistics Plus will also be a major sponsor for the upcoming Tall Ships Erie Festival in August, and again will be an annual sponsor for the Manufacturer and Business Association's 114th annual event in October. So again, we've been very successful the past few years, and so it's gratifying that for all of us, frankly, that Jim Berlin continues to parlay that success back into the local community.
Jim, let's bring you in here. You have to be excited about National Logistics Day.
It's a pretty cool idea. Scott came up with a great idea to celebrate the history of logistics. It's such a big industry worldwide, and everything moves, and the world stops if not for this industry. So it was a good way to celebrate it, and I guess we're going to have a bunch of states and the U.S. Senate and Congress and governor all applaud the idea. So that should be fun.
Is there any significance to it being on June 28th?
June 28th is actually the day that Marco Polo arrived in China in 1265. I'm making that up. No, we don't know which day he arrived there, but we chose that just as a day to use. Just as kind of a kidding way to do that. But it's been going on forever. It's like they say, the world's second oldest profession. Everything moves, and trade has knitted countries and cultures together for thousands of years, and hopefully will continue to.
Jim, what's the latest news with Logistics Plus?
I just got back from the West Coast, and we were out visiting Google, which is quickly becoming one of our biggest customers. And Google is the second or third largest company on earth. And we handle a lot of their supply chain, and we have people all over the world for them. So based out of Erie, we've got people in about 10 different countries, and in Google headquarters in Mountain View, helping manage the supply chain. So that's pretty cool. I mean, that's what's one thing neat about us. Even though it's an Erie company, our customers are all over the world, and we are all over the world, but still based here. So that's kind of good for the community.
What's going on with WeWork?
Well, WeWork is a big customer of ours. It's our biggest right now, and we helped take them from being a $6 billion company to a $47 billion company, which was because of their global growth. They kind of dominated the market, and it was an incredible pace and incredible chaos, as you can imagine, with a basic startup. But we handled it flawlessly and opened up hundreds of offices with thousands of desks all over the world on the fly. So that not only we had to hire a bunch of people for that, we learned new skills and we met new people and we got new customers out of it. So it really was, I tell people that GE was our first customer, so our first growth spurt was GE. And 20 years later, WeWork became something similar. We just really kind of grew quickly and learned new things and made new contacts. So it kind of elevated us to another level. And because of that, not only do we get customers of vendors that make their furniture, who now ask us to do their logistics for their other customers as well, but competitors to Google also have approached us. To WeWork have approached us, and we now have a bunch of customers in the same field of hospitality and installations of offices and hospitals and schools. So again, you take the opportunity to kind of solidify your knowledge and experience and further grow the business. That's been our whole strategy from day one.
Jim, with everything going on, are you foreseeing more hires this year?
I never try to predict the future because who knows. But yeah, I mean, our whole company is predicated on growth. And I say that's because I'm not a good businessman, but I know if you're growing, then there's always a spot for the people you have, and you always find new people and new places and things to experience. So to me, it makes it easier to run a company that's growing. We had 1 year in our 23 years where we went down in 2008, 2009, and we had to let people go, and I hated it. And actually, because you're watching every penny, our net profit margin was the best ever that year, but I didn't like it. I'd much rather make less of a percentage and grow more. Because I think it's the people that you have around you that makes you who you are. So by growing, you find new people, and you give people who are here new opportunities to raise their hand and say, I'll try that. And so it gives them a path to keep growing. So I love that.
Jim, could you tell us a little bit more about your trip to Google?
Sure. So we went out to Mountain View, to Google's headquarters, which really is a very cool place. And if you watch the movie, The Internship with Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson, it's just like that. It's a funny place to be. But we gave our pitch, annual review. And generally in cases like that, even if you do great, which we usually do, they thank you, but then they give you a couple shots to let you know who's the boss. But in this case, the head guy there said, okay, thank you. And he asked his people any negative comments or criticisms. And there's like 30 seconds of silence, and one of the young ladies raises her hand and says, well, I got some positive comments. And he said, okay. And one by one, every Google boss there went around and said that these guys are the best company we've ever worked with. Every person we deal with is nice and positive and hardworking and energetic and does whatever it takes. And that's music to my ears. I mean, I love, but that's us. I mean, that's, we usually go way above and beyond, and customers appreciate that.
Jim, I'm sure as you get larger and you get endorsements like the one you got from Google, that really opens up more opportunities for you.
It does. And Scott and Ryan make sure that the world hears about that. And but it is. I mean, I think word of mouth is the best marketing and advertising. I find that through customers getting referrals. And in fact, I always say that a lot of the people we get business from now are guys from 20 years ago who were GE. At the time, they might have been a shop foreman or a department head, but now they're the vice president or head of supply chain at a different company, and they still remember 20 years later how good we were. So it's not unusual for me to get a call from someone in Texas or in Iowa or in Missouri saying, "Hey, I want to talk to you. And so the word of mouth is great. And also for employees. I mean, I found that if you use word of mouth for that, if someone here recommends someone, one is they want to make sure that person succeeds because it makes them look bad if they don't. So they're going to be on their butts to make sure they do a good job. And the person who comes in does not want to embarrass the person who referred them. So really we find a good network of employees and customers just through doing a good job and treating people well and having karma come back at you.
Jim, can you comment on the Logistics for Dummies book?
Yeah, Logistics for Dummies was, kind of a fitting idea that Scott had. The dummies part especially, I guess applies to me, but it's a great career. People don't think about it, but it's a career that, I forget the numbers, but I think $13 trillion and 50 million people work in it. And it's a career that if you don't mind a little bit of chaos and managing discordant parties and to come to a happy ending, it kind of gets you juiced. So it's something people don't think about. And frankly, a lot of the interns we've had come through here had no idea of what logistics was. They just came to punch a ticket or get some credit for class, and it gets in their blood. I mean, that's what pretty quickly when you come here, you can say this is for me or this is not for me because it's pretty chaotic. But it's a great industry. I think it'll be here forever until someone makes an app that'll move a skid from here to there without human intervention. But until then, it's going to be a great career.
Jim, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
One thing is we're having a big celebration of our anniversary in August, and we're going to couple that with the Tall Ships Festival. So we'll have about 700 people in Erie and attending the festival and having our celebration. So that'll be a cool event. And I also am going over in August to Turkey because it's our 10th year of LP Turkey, which is doing great over there, and that'll be fun. And it gets harder and harder the bigger we get to all the places as often as I used to and as often as you'd like. But it's nice to go see the people in other parts of the world and make them feel part of the whole, So I enjoy that.
This is really a testament to your management. You don't have to be face-to-face as much, and really your employees can run with things, right?
Yeah, the communications with email and stuff works well, and you have Skype and things like that. But what I find is if you hire the right people in each country that have the same kind of culture of find a way to yes and solve problems and be helpful, then it works real well because the details they know that better than we do, obviously, in each country. But like in Turkey, for instance, we have 3 offices and they move some of the biggest stuff we move around the world. And it's a good camaraderie. I mean, I love connecting dots. And so getting there once in a while helps do that. And more people actually are traveling to different places. So I don't get to go to all the places anymore.
Gretchen, let's bring you in here to talk about tariffs. It has not been a boring year with tariffs. Can you set up where we stand today with tariffs?
Okay, well, so far we have both steel and aluminum tariffs. We also have tariffs on solar panels and washing machines. And then we have 3 lists of China tariffs, the 301 tariffs. Recently, the 3rd list of tariffs went from 10% to 25%. The first 2 lists were already at 25%. And upcoming, we have the 4th list of China tariffs. The comment period closes on June 10th. Importers can also submit written comments up until June 17th, and then we kind of expect those to be put into place either in July or August. Another issue that has hit importers would be the elimination of Turkey and India from the GSP list. That's the Generalized System of Preferences. That's a duty-free program for developing countries. It's been decided that it can no longer be considered a developing nation, so they've been eliminated from those lists, which kind of provides a problem for those importers that were switching their sourcing from China to India, because we've seen a lot of that. So they don't have the 25% coming out of India, but now they're paying regular tariffs on those.
Gretchen, can you explain how tariffs impacted you guys at LP?
Well, we need to let our customers know, because the tariffs are paid by the importers. They can either have us pay on their behalf and then we bill them, or some of our customers are choosing to pay customs directly to save interest costs. That can be done electronically through the entry process. So we have customers that are revisiting their payment terms and whatnot in order to make it easier on their bottom line, and they're also relooking at their sourcing. We have a number of customers that are changing their sourcing based on the tariff rates out of China.
I would imagine this lends itself to very anxious times for your customers, right?
It does. I answer a lot of questions per day, and everyone that calls or emails say I'm really sorry to bother you, and I also always reassure them that this is a lot of what I do now. I mean, I still do the entries and whatnot, but a lot of it is going over their commodities, their classifications and whatnot, and making sure that, everything's correct, because, you always want to revisit it to make sure that it is classified correctly, because the HTS code does change from year to year. So we want to, revisit that. They also ask, some of them are just really at a loss. That's why they use us, because we know, the regulations and whatnot, and they just aren't sure what applies to what country, because the steel tariffs, the aluminum tariffs apply to multiple countries, where the China tariffs, the 301 tariffs, just apply to goods of origin China. So we also have experienced some surprises with negotiations and whatnot with. Just recently this week, we were supposed to see tariffs with goods of Mexican origin, and then that has been postponed due to negotiations with Mexico. We also have the upcoming USMCA agreement, which is NAFTA 2.0. It doesn't quite roll off the tongue like NAFTA, but it's some pretty heavy reading that we're going through. It doesn't look like there's major changes from the old NAFTA per se, but we're reviewing that so that we can answer our customers' questions on that as well.
Gretchen, thanks again for being here. Scott, let's bring you back in to kind of wrap things up. With National Logistics Day, is there anything you'd like to add about that?
So again, as I mentioned, if anybody wants to learn more about National Logistics Day, they can go to nationallogisticsday.com. We've got some content on that website, history of logistics, some facts and figures, a video. We've got a new photo contest where you can take photos with logistics-themed stuff on the background and use the hashtag National Logistics Day, and you'll be entered into the sweepstakes to win a small little gift package from Logistics Plus. As far as the actual day itself, on June 28th, as I mentioned, we're going to start at 12:30 down in the rotunda at the brewery downstairs here at Union Station. We'll be making some announcements, as I mentioned, about some things we're doing within the community coming up in the next few weeks. We will also have a number of politicians on hand who will be helping us proclaim June 28th as National Logistics Day this year and every year going forward. We will have some other fun activities, like we'll be giving away hard copies of our new Logistics Careers Plus More for Dummies book. We'll actually have a mascot. The dummy himself will be here if anybody wants to get a photograph with the dummy. We will have a little station set up to demonstrate some of our technology that we use in the supply chain side of things. So if anybody's interested to see some of that in action, we will have a little demo station for that. We'll have information from two of our divisions, Logistics Plus Linguistic Solutions. We'll have some information if anybody's curious on translation services. We will also have some representation from NTL, our truckload company that's based here in town. In fact, they'll have a truck parked outside if anybody wants to look at a real big rig unit and see the inside of a cab. They can do that. NTL is also really our warehouse operator within Erie, so they've got 3 warehouses within the community, and if anybody wants to learn more about warehousing in Erie, NTL will be here to talk about that. We will have some other activities such as cornhole out back on the track side, so if anybody wants to go out and play cornhole or bocce ball, they can do that. We will also have open houses, open house tour of the Logistics Plus offices upstairs here. So if anybody wants to tour our facility and get a sense of what our different departments do and meet some of our people, they can sign up to do a tour of Logistics Plus. The brewery will also be providing a special haunted basement tour, which they, as you know, do every October. But for this event, they'll be taking some folks downstairs that want to sign up and do the kind of abbreviated haunted basement tour. And then so that's pretty much the kind of activities after 12:30. And then if folks want to stick around, we actually are going to have a short little happy hour at 4 o'clock. So folks that do stick around can partake in that as well.
Finally, Scott, if someone overall wanted to learn more about Logistics Plus in general, where could they go?
So yeah, if anybody's interested in learning more about Logistics Plus, perhaps a career with us or any of our services that we provide, they would go to logisticsplus.net. And we've got a whole plethora of information on our services. We have a careers posting there with open job openings. Again, as you mentioned, we've been on a bit of a hiring spurt. I think we've hired about 30 new employees this year already. So again, we're doing our part to support the logistics industry and supporting Erie. We're very proud of the fact that I think we've got over 170 employees here in Erie now that have good paying, challenging careers. And again, logistics is a big part of everything we do, as Jim mentioned earlier. Actually, 8% of everything that we make and sell in the United States, that cost of that is tied up in logistics in one form or another. So whether that's trucking, shipping, warehousing, packaging, all those are considered logistics activities, and they are really an important part of everything we do. And again, there's 50 million people employed around the world in the field of logistics. So again, having a National Logistics Day, which I'm surprised there isn't already, is really kind of a cool concept because it does really touch everything we do, and we're proud to be a part of it here at Logistics Plus.
Thanks for listening to Business Spotlight on Money Radio WPSE. Business Spotlight is heard Fridays at noon. Join us again next week as Dr. Ford is in the Business Spotlight.